Alright, let's clear the air here for a moment. First off, this documentary is not a penis-chopping, male-shaming, kick someone in the nards, pro-feminist movie, nor is it a female-hating, punching a cunt in the street, no man shirt-wearing, pro-men right movie, despite using the red pill as their title. When I first read the descriptions and saw thumbnails of the review for this film like this, or even this, well, at least these guys didn't do the whole pill in the mouth thing. I thought this was going to be a film talking about how men were the devil and how women were the light, basically tumbled in the movie number 687, or how this film was a big old middle finger to the feminist movement, and how Reddit or 4chan will use this film as their weapon when arguing. But I was dead wrong. The director of this film did a great job interviewing and using facts to explain both gender discrimination. Another thing, I don't care about both rights. To me, it's just a bunch of people bitching and moaning about nothing. Yeah, there are some facts and studies justifying each group's points and arguments, but it doesn't affect me at all whatsoever when I wake up or when I go to sleep. I only care about paying rent, putting food on the table, and trying not to die. Other than that, I can care less and live another day. Speaking of the director, here's her backstory. Cassie J is an ex-actress turned into a filmmaker. Her full releases films are Daddy I Do, which is about the purity ball and the issues between abstinence versus comprehensive sex ed in women. Faces Overlooked, a documentary about hunger in a wealthy community, and the right to love an American family. This documentary talks about marriage and how the LGBT community is affected by it. She was a feminist up until this documentary, which we'll talk about that later, but she isn't a hair multicolored dyeing, crazy tattoo having, oddly pierced woman. She looks well maintained and was level headed throughout the film. She was the type of feminist that would have discussions for hours and hours and keep her cool rather than yelling on top of her lungs and shutting your ideas down and talk over you. So that's enough about her. Let's discuss about the red pill, and no, not the internet joke or the famous scene from The Matrix, but the documentary itself. The documentary is about the men's rights movement and how it's different from the women's rights. The men's rights stand for custody rights, workplace death, suicide, wars, and education dropouts. The director holds numerous upon numerous interviews with the men rights activists alongside with the Honey Badgers, another male rights group that is run by women. Not only she holds interview with MRA, but also women rights activists, as well including this woman. Remember her? Yeah, if you don't know her or want a refresher on who this lovely lady is, then watch this short clip to jog your memory or to learn a little bit about her.
If you shut the fuck up and let me read my list, there's the fucking proof.
And so I obviously can't like.
So, number one, shut the fuck up for a second. Feminists do not want you to lose custody of your children. The assumption that women are naturally better caregivers is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not like commercials in which bumbling dads mess up the laundry and competent wives have to bustle in and fix it. The assumption that women... We're working on it and you guys are trying to dismantle it. But if you'd fucking listen...
I don't believe they do.
The MRA,
Then why are you part of the organization?
saying that we're trying to take away their rights? How are we trying to take away their rights?
Why?
Can you shut the fuck up for a second too?
Well,
so I can
he
read
just
my fucking
listed
list.
how they.
Isn't she a peach? Despite having more male activists being interviewed rather than female activists, the director also added news articles that were more feminist influenced, and Jay even said that the news media is more feminist centered. Like I said before, this documentary is well balanced, and it didn't feel like it was a one-sided argument. Both parties did explain their beliefs and ideas to the argument, and Jay was the judge. Throughout filming of The Red Pill, the director kept video diaries expressing her feelings in this year-long film. How her views of men was different from what she learned, to even questioning her views of feminism, because each time she spent more and more with the MRA, the more and more she questioned her own beliefs, and every time she held her interviews, she wanted to speak out and challenge the MRA, but was always thinking of what to say to rebuttal their points. I'm not saying that the MRA silenced her like how the opposite group tried to silence the MRA, but upon hearing counter arguments that were different from her, she kind of felt like in a deer in a headlight scenario. She looked calm and collective on the outside, but once the video diaries were integrated, she showed confusion to even shedding tears toward the end of the film. Despite her world being turned upside down, she didn't try to find someone to scapegoat. Instead, she restated what she said from the beginning of the film to somewhat renouncing her feminist views. The perks about this film is how Jay kept her emotions to a bare minimum and not turning this film into a male-hating flick, because if she or even she made this documentary, then this whole topic wouldn't be the same from what Jay did. It would have been a shit show and barely watchable, and for that, Jay did a great job providing facts over feelings. Another perk that I found was the interviewees being well behaved and well mannered. Even the big red cunt didn't shout or tell anybody to shut the fuck up.
If you would shut the fuck up for the 50th billionth time, we agree on.
Both MRA and feminists explained their views and their counter-arguments like human beings, and even Jay showed live birth and the process of circumcision in this film. I just want to plug this in because for two reasons. One is to advise that this is not a family-friendly movie, and two, this is the only thing that pops in my mind when seeing this poster. The one thing I kinda disliked, and sure it might be nitpicking, was her editing. Mainly it was the people she was interviewing. Almost throughout the entire film, she had the names of the interviewees on the side and being left there until the interview was over. It kind of felt like I had a memory of a goldfish to be reminded who this person was. But like I said, it's a nitpick and it doesn't ruin the film whatsoever. Overall, this documentary is about a feminist director filming about men's rights, and throughout filming said topic, the director questioned her own views on feminism. The way she showed both arguments in this almost 2-hour-long film was well executed, and a big props to Cassie J for not doing a complete U-turn on her film. Despite what we see online and on the news, this documentary kind of clears things up and debunks some criticism, like how the MRA article about making October Bash a Violent Bitch Month was basically a rebuttal to Jezebel's "Have you ever beat up your boyfriend? Because we have" article. Would I recommend this film? Yeah, because this is a film that explains both viewpoints in an equal manner. Sure, there might be other films tackling this subject, but then again, I'm only one person with not enough time. But yeah, if you want to see college kids complaining, Boko Haram evil doings, or Cassie's J B-roll movie clips, then this film is for you. Until then, we meet again.
Thank you.